Hello, I'm David.
Hi, I'm Julie.
So this is a re-recording of Martian Dice, because I'd like to thank Seth Jaffe, who we've known from Tucson. He's one of the co-founders of RenCon, a game convention we have attended when we used to live there, and sometimes we go back. But he used to work for Tasty Minstrel Games and pointed out an error in my rules explanation. So thank you for that. So this is currently out of print. Hopefully it will be reprinted. You should be able to find copies available.
Oh, good.
And it is a push your luck dice game. And how many players is it? It's for 2 or more Martians, ages 8 to 97. So if you're 98, 99,
you can't play.
miss out.
Sorry.
And it's about 10 to 30 minutes per game. Now, I'm going to explain what I got wrong in the first explanation, because this is the most confusing part of the game. So unlike other push your luck dice games, usually the standard is you pick 3 dice out of the cup, okay? In this case, you're going to pick up all the dice and roll them. And we're the Martians, and we don't want tanks, because Earth is defending itself, and we're trying to collect Earthlings, either the humans, chickens, or cows. And by the time we decide to score, we have to have enough, is it death rays?
Yeah.
Yeah, death rays have to equal or exceed the amount of tanks.
There's more right there.
Yeah. So if this is a situation here, we would score 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you get a bonus if you have one of each type of Earthling. So this would be 8 points, 5 plus 3, and we have matched or exceeded the number of tanks. If the situation was like this, we would, and say we roll again. You cannot, once you've got a type of Earthling, you cannot collect any more of that type. So right now we're just rolling to see if we can get Martians, a death rays. So we didn't get any, so what we do is we proceed to scoring. And because we have more tanks than death rays, we would bust. If the so there's a couple rules you got to remember. You always have to put aside a death ray or Earthlings, but you can't put aside the same Earthling that you put aside from a previous turn. So once we put aside humans, we can't put humans aside again. Once we put aside chickens, no more chickens can be put aside. And then this is, once we got that set, then we might be rolling for death rays to try to overcome the tanks. But once you can't put aside a death ray or an Earthling type, then you proceed to scoring. So that's what I got wrong before. And what that rule is mentioned right here. If you cannot set aside any dice based on these restrictions, your turn is over, proceed to scoring. What I was doing, I was thinking, it's like other push your luck games where you bust. Okay. Now and the example here, though, unfortunately, does not show that as an example of proceeding to scoring. And why am I pointing that out? For those of you who watch this channel, know my expertise on writing rulebooks. I did my dissertation, and you can see the playlist on that, and you can download this performance list for free on my website. I want to show you one particular section, because I know that we've probably played it correctly in the past, but then when you reread the rules, you forget things. The example would have helped me remember it, and there was some discussion on how to play it correctly on BGG. So on the performance list, which is made by industry experts, I'm not going to go into too much detail about that, but on the examples category, the 4.0, it says here, all core game mechanics are explained through examples. So a core game mechanic is that if you can't put a die type aside, you go to scoring. So that's how that could have been avoided. People asking about it on Board Game Geek, and me making a mistake, even though I might have played it in the past correctly. So those of you who watch this channel, when I point out these things, that's why you need to do that. All right, so let's take a look how you play. So we're going to roll all 25, all dice. The first to 25 points wins. So I have to put the tanks aside. I could put the death rays aside, the 2 humans, the 2 chickens, or the 1 cow. Now I'm going to put aside, you have to put the tanks. So I'm going to match, so I'm not scoring anything yet. Death rays aren't worth anything. So I'm going to roll again. I was able to put a die type aside so I can keep on rolling. Wow, I'm going to bust. I can't overcome that. So even if I put that aside, I can't overcome the number of tanks. So I got 0 that round. Okay, Julie, you go. Okay, what do you want to put aside? You can do death rays, so that way you can overcome them.
Yeah.
So Julie has +2 death rays, so should be okay the next roll. Now you can put that cow aside. You can put that human aside, and the tank goes there. So Julie was able to put a die type aside, okay, and she has no more dice left. So she would get 2 points because she has 6 death rays to 5 tanks. Now let's say the example was this. She couldn't put a die type aside. She immediately goes to scoring. So, but she has enough death rays to overcome the tank, so she would have scored 1 point. But in the example she rolled, because she did not roll another cow, she was able to put the Earthling, the human aside, and score 2 points. But if you would have rolled a cow, she wouldn't be able to put the cow aside. The tank still gets put aside. She goes to, because she couldn't put a die type aside, she goes to scoring 1 point. Now, if it was this, she would have put it aside. So so in this case, she has to go to scoring because you couldn't put a die type aside. Anyways, I'll go one more round. So Julie has 2. Oh, that's a much better roll. Now, I could put aside all those death rays. I'm going to do that.
I would do that too.
Okay. Okay, I will at least match the tanks there.
Yeah.
Now I can't put the chickens aside.
No.
Okay. Well, that's a pretty good. Well, no.
No,
Well,
it's bad for you.
I could put the death rays aside and still keep on going.
I would.
Let's say it was all chickens. Okay. Or it was just a tank and chickens. I couldn't put in a die aside. I would go to scoring.
Right.
In fact, I would bust if it was another tank.
Yeah.
But I'm going to keep on going. Okay. I got to put the tank. I'll do the cows. So I'm pushing my luck here.
Yes, you are.
All right. I cannot put a die aside. I go to scoring. And I busted because I have more tanks than death rays. So I pushed my luck too hard. Although if it was a situation like this, let's say it didn't come up, and I got that, I can do this and say I'm done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plus 3 for having one of each should be 9 points. So I hope that made sense there. That's the hardest part, is when do you go to scoring and what can make you bust.
Yeah.
All right.
I agree.
So let's take a look at our criteria. Is this fun to play?
Very fun.
Yes, and it's more
Very
fun
fun.
now that we're playing it correctly.
Yes.
And I do recall that at one time I had to scour Board Game Geek years ago to find out how to play it correctly, and I just forgot. The theme definitely is very much, you feel like, Mars Attack
Yeah.
or War of the Worlds. That's what you're kind of getting there. Art, for dice, it's clear.
I agree.
Components are quality. They're etched dice, chunky, kind of like what Zombie Dice has. And we've rolled these hundreds of times, and they're holding up fine.
Yeah.
Complexity, like I said, the only thing that can happen here is somebody can miss that little rule here about proceeding to scoring and doing that correctly, which is right there. And I'm only pointing that out is because there are people that ask questions about that on BGG. So that's the only thing like I mentioned, an example that would have showed that would have probably cleared it up in any confusion. Playing time. This does take a little bit more time because you need to get 25 points.
Right. But it still doesn't take forever to play.
No, it doesn't take. It takes longer than other push your luck dice games because you can, when you're rolling all the dice like that, you can get really messed over by the tanks. And by the way, I should point out it's only one tank on a die.
Yeah.
And there's 2 death rays. But even then, it still seems like you roll lots of tanks.
True.
It makes you wonder, if the set we have is balanced. But you saw on camera there was a couple rolls, so I didn't get any tanks.
Exactly.
And then age, yeah, an 8-year-old can handle this.
Oh, yeah.
Again, you have to supervise them playing it correctly, because it can get confusing when you already have Earthlings, and when you get down to so many dice, people can get confused. Did I bust? Do I go to scoring? So they'll just need some adult supervision until they get it down better. You need a bunch of repetitions. I know you need a bunch of repetitions now with this rule. Yeah. We don't play this often enough to remember it. So we already talked about the rules and educational merit. Definitely counting the 25. It's definitely there with addition, and it does teach probability. So how would we rate this?
You first.
Okay, I have it at 8. Enjoy playing it, would suggest it.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I really do like it. I like that it's something different than the zombie dice and the Batman dice and the other dice games we have. And yeah, I like it. I think it's a lot of fun.
Now, when we were not playing it correctly recently, we would have gave it a 7 because we thought it was too difficult. But now you proceed to scoring.
That makes
a difference.
Easier.
Makes it less frustrating. So if you're like us who weren't playing it correctly lately, it made it more frustrating. So we would have rated it a 7. But now
it's an 8.
It's an 8. And we had another game. You're wearing the Wonder Woman shirt. If you look at our video of the Wonder Woman, which is back here.
They can't see it.
I'm going to get it. If you watch our review of the Wonder Woman cooperative game, whoa, you're on your side.
You're backwards.
Now you're upside down.
Why don't you move the thing and then you won't worry about it?
No, we got to keep it there. We were playing this wrong, and then we figured out what we were doing wrong, and it said, "Oh, this is a great game."
Yeah.
So
it helps if you learn the rules correctly.
Yes, exactly. So it's an 8.
Yes.
And what was I going to say? And when this was being, for some reason, people were getting rid of this stock before Tasty Mystery Game was out of business, but there was retailers that were getting rid of this game for some reason, and we bought a whole bunch for like $5 and we gave it as gifts. So that's how much we liked it in the past. We just forgot how to play it.
We have to play it more.
Right. So there you go. That's our lightning review. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys. We hope you had fun, and we'll see you next time.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.